Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Chill Out podcast. I'm super excited to be spending some time with you. Honestly, like I've missed you guys. I currently have a cup of green tea beside me. It's cozy, it's warm, it's amazing. I'm chilling on my bed. I'm so cozy right now. And it's much cooler weather right now because it's almost winter. So it's just been like raining, overcast, and just the vibes. It's perfect writing weather, actually. And if you're ever on Substack, I recently started like a Substack page, so I post like a lot of poetry on there, a lot of my writing and stuff, so definitely check it out if you're keen. But I've really been enjoying getting into that, and there's just nothing better than writing on a really rainy day. Like last weekend, it was honestly pouring the entire weekend, so I was just like on the couch, I lit a candle, I put on some really vibey music. I'm really vibing with Thames right now. Honestly, her voice is insane. But it's just the perfect way to like unwind and just sort of like dump all of your thoughts onto a page. And yeah, like I've just been posting it on my Substack. So yeah, check it out if you guys are interested. It's really fun on there. I've been thinking a lot about this lately, and I don't know if you've ever had this feeling, but I just realized that I don't fully relate to my old self anymore. Like, is that weird? Is that bad? And I don't think it's in a bad way. It's kind of strange in a way. It's like a strange feeling to have because I can still recognize that girl. Like, I understand why she was the way that she was, but at the same time, I'm just not there anymore. And maybe that just comes with like growing up and getting older and all of that, but it's just such a crazy feeling. I think for most of my life, I've always kind of felt like the underdog, not in a feel bad for me type of way. It's not even something that I used to say out loud. It was more just like a quiet feeling I always had in the background in my own head. Like I was there, but not fully in it, if that makes any sense. Like I've always felt a little bit on the outside and a little bit, misunderstood. Like people saw parts of me, but not the full picture. And I think a lot of that came from the fact that I've always been into things that don't really fit into one box. Like I make YouTube videos and I write poetry and I like art and, aesthetics and pictures and all of that. And I'm drawn to a lot of different things. And I feel like I've never had that one clear identity that people could easily understand or label. When someone could just be like, oh yeah, like that's the sporty one or that's the academic one or whatever it is. I never really felt like I had that. And again, that sounds kind of freeing, like not being put in a box should actually be a good thing. But at the same time, it also didn't feel like that. It felt more like I didn't fully belong anywhere. Like I could fit into different spaces, but I never felt completely at home in any one of them. And I don't know if you've ever had that feeling where you're around people, you're part of things, but there's still this small part of you that feels slightly disconnected. Like you're observing as much as you are actually participating. And I think because of that, I started to internalize this idea that I was just different. Not in a confident, I'm unique way, and I'm using quotation marks right now, more in like a quiet, slightly insecure way. Like maybe I'm a bit too much in some ways, not enough in others, not fully understood. And I didn't always know how to express that. So I sort of just like carried it and it became part of how I saw myself. Like I'm the one who doesn't fully fit. The one who's a bit on the outside, the underdog in a way. I think when you see yourself like that for long enough, it starts to influence how you actually move through things and how you move through the world and how you see things and how you show up in friendships and how you let people treat you and what you tolerate, because there's always that underlying feeling of, I don't fully belong here anyway. So you don't always take up as much space as you should. You don't always fully trust that you're allowed to be exactly who you are. And I didn't realize how much that mindset was shaping me at the time. But looking back now, I can see it so much more clearly. And I actually wrote this poem about Grace Kelly. It was like inspired by her. And I think that she was so beautiful, so stunning, so poised, just herself. And even though she had this like perfect image of being this elegant, beautiful woman, she was always just herself. Like she had her quirks, and no matter what setting she was in, she always carried herself in a way that she felt most confident. And I wrote a poem about it, and just how a lot in life we're sort of, especially as women, we're like kind of like put in a box or told to be a certain type of way to like, control our emotions and be poised and be perfect. And so that poem is basically just about how we sort of are pushed into a certain type of box and we're meant to stay there. And how I've been feeling in my life of just trying to rather, just enjoy the messy parts of growth and enjoy and embrace the messy parts of your emotions and how you feel, and rather choosing to understand them than just pushing them aside and trying to be this perfect version of yourself. So yeah, like check it out on my Substack. This is not meant to plug it at all. I'm just like telling you guys because I've just been finding a lot of really great healing in writing right now, and I've always been really into it because I've literally been journaling since I was like 15 years old, and it's always been my way of like processing life and understanding things and trying to come to terms with like how I'm feeling and how I can get over things and all of that. So now that I'm able to sort of share that with people, it's such a cool thing. Like writing is so cool, honestly. I just feel like I used to hold on to people a lot more than I should have, and I'm not sure if you can relate to this, whether that is like friendships or relationships or anything really. And it wasn't always obvious at the time. Like I wouldn't have said I'm holding on because I'm scared, for example. It just showed up in small ways, like staying in situations longer than I knew felt right, or giving more than I was getting, making excuses for people, trying to keep things going even when it felt one-sided. And I think a lot of that came from being scared to be alone. Not even just physically alone, but like emotionally on my own. Like I didn't fully trust myself to be okay without having someone there. So what I would do is I would attach myself to people or to relationships because it felt safer than facing things on my own. And I don't know if you ever felt like that, but it's such a very quiet kind of fear. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's just this underlying feeling of I need this to work because I'm terrified of being alone and handling life on my own, basically. Even if deep down you know that it's not really right for you, you just stay a bit longer, you try a bit harder, you give a bit more, hoping that it'll feel the way that you want it to. And looking back, I can see how much of that came from not feeling secure in myself. It's so crazy how, in hindsight, you look back on situations and you can see things in a totally different light. Like it's so scary, but it's so cool at the same time because you can definitely see the growth. Like I didn't fully feel okay on my own at the time. So I looked for that feeling in other people. I needed them to feel stable, to feel wanted, to feel like I belong somewhere. And that's a lot to place on someone else without even realizing that you're doing it. Because it means that you're constantly adjusting yourself to keep that connection. You're more focused on not losing them than on whether it's actually right for you. And when I think about that version of me now, I don't judge her, okay? I don't look back and think, why did you do that? Because I understand. Okay, maybe sometimes I do look back and I'm like, Kelly, what were you doing? What were you thinking? I sent this like meme to my friend the other day that I found on TikTok. So like obviously you guys must have seen all of these Justin Bieber like viral memes that are going around, like the clocking and all of that. And there's this one where he's like talking to the paparazzi and he's like, no. He's like, and then like the text overlay was something like, when your friend keeps bringing up guys or people that you used to like, and I like forwarded that to her and she was like laughing so much because it's so relatable. Like you look back on situations and you're like, what were you thinking? Honestly, some things you don't even want to like, sometimes you don't even want to think back to certain situations or certain people because you're just like, what were you thinking? You know better. You could do better. And I don't know why you were doing that. So it's just funny to sort of like laugh at yourself sometimes. And I just found that so funny. So I had to send that to her. But you know what? Sometimes you look back at situations and you are like, why? Why did you do that? But when I was looking back at certain times, specific situations, to be more specific, I was just trying to be a bit more understanding. Because that version of myself was trying to feel safe and trying to feel okay and trying to hold on to something that made her feel less alone. And I think that's a very human thing. But I do obviously feel for her because she did deserve to feel more secure in herself. She deserved to feel like she was enough on her own without needing to hold on to people so tightly. She should have believed in herself more. But at the same time, you know what? She also got me here. She got me here to where I am today. So, you know what? It's fine. Like everything she went through, everything she held on to, everything she learned the hard way, that's what made me more aware now and so much stronger. that's what made me start questioning things and setting boundaries and choosing things differently. So I don't regret, even though I do wish that that version of me felt a bit more at peace, because she's the reason I'm able to be where I am now, you know? So this one guy that I had a situationship with like years ago, literally, when I was very naive and stupid, he actually contacted me like a few months ago. I saw the DM and I was like, nope, I'm not going to click into it, open it, make him see that I've seen it or anything like that. Not to play games or whatever, but just because the fact that like I actually don't even have the energy. Like I don't even want to engage. You know what I mean? I don't want to give that person any reason to think that I want anything to do with him. And it's not in a way where like I hate the person or whatever. It's more of like, I know the version of myself that I was when I was in that whole situation, and how I look back and I'm like, you know what, you could have done better. You did not deserve certain things. Now I just think back and I'm like, it feels so freeing to be able to look back at a situation, especially something that was toxic and not good for me. And I'm at a place in my life now where I can just be like, you know what? No, I don't want to play any games. I don't want to engage. I don't want to interact. I don't want anything to do with that person. And obviously I wish them well. Like I wish everyone well. I don't like hate anyone, but it is really freeing to know that I'm able to be as strong as I am now and not fall back into those old patterns of that girl that used to be so insecure enough to accept stuff like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was just thinking back to that when I was like working on this concept of this episode, because that moment was so cool for me. I was like, you know what? This person doesn't even affect me anymore. Okay, I'm so beyond that. I'm so over that it's so cool to like be at this place where I don't need to get back into a toxic situation. And I think what really changed things for me was my first real relationship ending. I'm not talking about the other person that I was just talking about now, but my actual first real relationship, my first real like love. And I think that's what really shifted things for me. And I think also turning 30, like when you turn 30, I think things just like shift by itself in some weird way. You just sort of think about life in a different way. You start setting more boundaries. You start thinking about your future, the person that you actually want to be, what you want to bring more of into your life, what you want to let go of, and what you actually deserve and what you want to, you know, give your energy to. So having that relationship end, I think, was also a defining moment, because you know, when you're so comfortable with someone, they're like your best friend, you spend every day with them, you're talking to them all the time, and they know so much about you, and then not having that person anymore. And there's actually a song or something where it's like, it's so crazy how much you can love someone and then they just become someone that you used to know, which is honestly so sad. But it's not meant to be sad, okay? But I just think that that was the moment where everything kind of shifted, because up until then, I always had something to hold on to. I had this person who I felt really safe with and comfortable with, and I really loved this person. And even if things weren't perfect, because what relationship is perfect, there was always someone there. When you have someone that you're with and you're in a relationship and you love this person, you have someone there. It's like familiar. It's something that makes you feel a bit more grounded. And then suddenly not having that person anymore, they're just like gone, they're out of your life, like you don't even talk to each other. It's a weird thing to wrap your head around. And I think what made it even more intense was just last year in general. I had so many fun moments last year. Like, I'm not even gonna try and bash it at all. It's not even about that. I had so many fun, great moments. But I also went through a lot, okay? Emotionally, personally, it was a lot, because I was on my own a lot more. I was dealing with a heartbreak, dealing with everything that came with that, and not really having anything to distract me from it. I no longer had like that person that's meant to be your confidant and your best friend and the person that you talk to every day and you get used to them. You don't have that support anymore. And then you have friends who also have their own lives, and I'm someone that doesn't like to burden people with my stuff, so I tend to try and deal with things on my own. So now when you are going through like a heartbreak and you don't have that person that you usually go to for support or someone to talk to or someone to just enjoy life with, and now you have to deal with that, but you're by yourself and it's just a lot going on. There wasn't anything to hide behind anymore. if that makes any sense. No relationship, no constant noise, no way to avoid how I was actually feeling. It was just me and my thoughts. And I won't lie, it was really hard. Like, it was really uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. And I definitely see now that, you know, the cliche thing that people tend to say when you break up with someone, that, you know, time heals, it will get better, like this too shall pass and all of that. And it really does work. Like, I do feel a lot more better. I feel a little bit more healed, and I'm able to move forward. And you feel so empty inside, you know what I mean? So it was a lot. It was a lot to deal with alone, and then also just not having that person anymore. It's very, very difficult, because when you're used to having people around or having something or someone to attach yourself to, and then suddenly you don't, you do tend to feel empty. It feels unfamiliar to you, and you kind of realize how much you relied on that without even meaning to. And I think that's the part no one really prepares you for, that in-between space where you've lost something but you haven't fully found yourself yet. And I remember just having to sit with absolutely everything. And what I did to really help me deal was I deleted Instagram off my phone. Like, I didn't have any social media apps at all. And I just decided to sort of like go inward, block all of the outside noise out, and just try and figure out, how am I going to move forward? What is the next step for me? How am I going to heal myself in the healthiest way possible? And what am I going to put my energy into now moving forward to also kind of distract me from how I was feeling, but putting it into something positive that I'm really passionate about? And how am I going to take one step forward and like move on? And when you are by yourself and you have to sit with absolutely everything, it's terrifying. It is. I can't even explain it unless you've actually been in it. But that feeling of like having to deal with your emotions, the thoughts in your head, the heartbreak, that emptiness, it's just terrible. And some days are better than others, but last year was just, it was a lot. Like, I'm laughing now, but I honestly ask myself sometimes, Kelly, I don't know how you did it. I do not know how you dealt with all of those types of things by yourself. And I'm someone that has an overthinking brain. So yeah, it's just a lot. But thank goodness I came out on the other side. Oh my gosh. Like, I couldn't just distract myself and move on quickly. I actually had to just go through it. And that's where it really gets uncomfortable, but also really honest. Because I think that's also where a lot of growth happened. Not in a dramatic, everything changed overnight kind of way, but in a slow, quiet way. Like, I didn't have a choice, but to learn how to be okay on my own. I had to get to the other side on my own, and was fine. I got to the other side, thank goodness. But just to be able to sit with yourself and to understand yourself a bit more, and to figure out what you actually feel without someone else influencing it, at first felt really unnatural. Like, I didn't fully know how to do that. But over time, it got easier. Okay, not perfect, not effortless. And I think that process changed me in a way that I didn't even realize at the time, because when you're in it, it just feels like you're getting through something. You don't necessarily see the growth happening. But looking back now, I can see that that period actually forced me to become a lot more independent emotionally. It forced me to rely on myself in a way that I hadn't before. And even though it was uncomfortable, I don't think I would be the same person now without it. And also, thank goodness for music, the beach, movies on the couch watching Adam Sandler, and just really good food, okay? Some good ice cream. And now when I look at myself, it's not like I've completely changed as a person. I'm still me. Like, the core of who I am is still the same. I still love the same things. I still get excited about the same kind of arts and, you know, nature and all of those types of things. I still have the same sensitivities, the same way of seeing things, but there's this underlying difference that I can't ignore anymore. It's not loud or dramatic. It's just really subtle. It's more like the way I move through things now is just different. Like, I'm not reacting from the same place that I used to. I think I'm a lot more selective with my energy now. And I don't mean that in like a cold or closed off way. I just think that certain situations change you forever. It's more that I've started paying attention to how things actually make me feel. Like, who I'm around, what conversations I'm having, what situations I'm putting myself in. I don't just automatically say yes anymore out of habit or out of guilt or fear of missing out. I actually pause and ask myself, do I actually want to be here? Does this feel good for me? And if the answer is no, I'm starting to be okay with acting on that. I'm also more aware of what I want and what I don't want, which sounds really simple and cheesy, but I don't think I always was that way. I think for a long time, I was more focused on keeping things going or keeping people happy or just not disrupting anything, like just trying to keep the peace for everyone else, even if it didn't fully align with me. But now there's a bit more clarity in me. Like I can feel when something feels right and I can feel when it doesn't. And I trust that feeling a lot more than I used to. And I think that the biggest shift, if I'm being very honest, is that I don't feel like I need people in the same way that I used to, which is crazy, honestly, because some people that I surrounded myself with before, honestly, like when I think about the people that I surrounded myself with before, oh my gosh, seriously, the fact that I've come this far is growth. Like that's all I can say. And I'm not saying this in a detached way. I'm saying this in a more grounded type of way. Because obviously I still love connection. I still care deeply about people. I still value relationships. I still enjoy having people in my life. That part of me hasn't gone anywhere. But the difference is I'm not attaching myself to people just so I don't feel alone. I'm not staying in things just because I'm scared of what it would feel like to let go. And that's been a really quiet but powerful shift for me, because it means I'm not operating from the same place of anxiety or insecurity that I used to. It means I can actually enjoy connections for what they are instead of what I need them to be. And I think that changes everything. Because when you're not gripping onto things so tightly, you actually get to experience them more fully without as much fear in the background. And I've been noticing these small things lately where I just don't relate to certain behaviors anymore. And it's not like a conscious decision I made overnight. It's more like I slowly started realizing, oh, I don't actually move like that anymore. Like I don't feel the need to always be the one reaching out first or constantly trying to keep things going if it's not being reciprocated. There was a time where that felt normal to me. Like if I didn't do it, things would just fall apart or disappear. And that definitely stems from my people-pleasing tendencies, just trying to make everyone happy and make sure everyone feels included and needed and, thought of and all of that type of stuff. And especially in friendships, like I would overextend myself to let people know that I'm there for you and I'm here and all of that type of stuff. And it wasn't being reciprocated. And all that was doing to me was just draining my energy. It wasn't actually filling my own cup. And it's not meant to be in a selfish type of way. It's just something that you kind of need to be aware of sometimes when you feel like you're giving more than you're actually receiving. But now I'm a bit more aware where energy is actually mutual and where I'm just the one carrying it all the time. And if it's not being met halfway, I don't feel as responsible for holding it together anymore. And it comes from more of a place of protecting your peace and setting more boundaries and being okay with being alone if you can't align yourself with people that want to be in your life and also want to make the effort. And there comes a time in life where you sort of just are like at peace. Like you don't hate anyone, you don't wish anyone bad, you just don't care to an extent of like, it's fine, like I wish you well, you do you, I'm gonna do me, and that's fine. I just don't feel like the same pressure to make everyone happy all the time either, which is something I didn't even realize I was doing so consistently before. Like I think I just used to adjust myself a lot, my tone, my choices, my responses, just to keep things smooth or comfortable for other people, even if it meant I was slightly uncomfortable. But now I'm starting to realize I don't actually need to do that in every situation. And not everyone is going to be happy all the time anyway. So it's not really something I can control or something that I need to take on personally. I also don't care as much about being fully understood by everyone anymore, which is amazing, which used to be such a big thing for me. Like I used to want people to see me exactly how I was, to get every part of me, to understand my intentions perfectly. And if they didn't, I would literally overthink it for days, guys. I'm not even kidding. But now I've kind of accepted that everyone will not fully understand you, and that is okay. And that does not mean anything is wrong with you. It just means that people experience you differently, and you also experience other people differently, okay? Sometimes you just stop caring so much, and as you get older, it's actually amazing. Like, how many times do you guys get plans and you feel this pressure to say yes, but you're actually not keen to do anything and you don't really want to go out or whatever, and you have this like feeling in your stomach and you're like, I don't want to disappoint anyone, you're just trying to avoid it, you want to make everyone happy, And I honestly, I'm just at a place now where I don't feel like I need to say yes to plans if I'm not keen at all, which is something I used to do a lot more than I realized as well. Like, I'd rather inconvenience myself than make someone else feel uncomfortable or rejected, which is crazy that we do that to ourselves. And now I'm like starting to understand that my time and my energy actually matters too, and so does yours. And if you don't want to do something, it is okay to be like, you know what, no, I'm gonna chill today. I just want to be at home by myself, or I'm not really keen to go out right now. And that is totally fine. So for this episode, I decided, instead of rambling on, let me make a list of things that I don't really resonate with anymore, or things that I've sort of outgrew in my life. And I'm going to read you guys the list because it's crazy. The growth is insane, honestly. First of all, I don't feel the need to explain myself as much anymore. I don't feel like I need to give someone a long explanation for every decision that I make or every boundary that I set. Sometimes no is just no, and that is enough. And I think that's been quite a freeing experience for me. The way that I speak to myself has changed. I'm not criticizing my body the way that I used to. I feel really great in a bikini and I don't even care. I look at myself and I try and give myself as much love, which is a lot of growth from how I used to treat myself when I was growing up. I'm not picking myself apart in the same automatic way. It's not like I never have those thoughts. I just want to be clear, but they don't take up as much space as they did before. Like, I feel way more comfortable just wearing whatever I want to wear. You know what? I'm an oversized clothing girl, okay? I like wearing an oversized hoodie, some really nice baggy jeans, and comfortable shoes, and I'm fine with that. So that is just my vibe. On a day-to-day basis, I want to feel comfortable, and if those types of things make me feel comfortable, that's what I'm going to wear, right? So it's just those types of things, and just changing the way that you view yourself really helps so much, and trying to look at yourself with more love and kindness. It does you wonders, trust me. Like, I still feel things deeply, but I'm not as likely to spiral about it and like stay there for days. Like, every time when I would go out, like go to like a party or a club or whatever, and you know when you're like in the moment and you're meeting new people and you're just like talking, and I used to literally go home and I would overthink the entire night. I'd be like, what did I say? What was I saying? I'm so embarrassing. Now I'm just like, cool, like I was kind and you know, nice to that person that I met, and that's fine. Like, I do not need to spiral about it for 5 days. Honestly. And basically, I think that's what the interesting part of all of this is. None of these things feel huge on their own. It's not like one big moment changed everything. It's just all these small shifts in how I think, how I react, how I treat myself, how I show up in my life now. But when you put them all together, they actually are quite big. And that's when I realized I've changed more than I thought that I had. I know that when I turned 30 last year, I immediately felt a certain shift. Like, I've always been a really driven person, but I felt a little bit more drive, and I want to be able to enjoy life more and have the freedom to do that. And that's what like motivates me every single day. And you just sort of look at life a little bit differently, especially when you go through like really hard situations. It is so true what they say, hardship builds character. It really does. And sometimes you have to laugh at yourself and be a little bit self-deprecating. But it's just crazy how those small little shifts in life add up. And the next thing you just realize, like, wow, I feel like a completely different person. Like, that whole situation changed me. All of those little situations have changed me. And hopefully it's been for the better. So yeah, like, I don't relate to my old self anymore, but I also don't hate her. I think she was doing the best that she could with what she had, and she got me to where I am now, which I am so grateful for. And I feel like if you're in a place where you are changing or outgrowing things or not fully recognizing yourself, that's not a bad thing. It probably just means you're growing into someone who feels more like you, even if it feels super unfamiliar right now. It's so crazy. Like, I saw this one interview that Tony Robbins did where he was explaining his life story, and they were asking him, if you didn't go through those certain things in your childhood, or would you take anything back? Would you want to rewrite everything? And he said, no. Like, those experiences, if I didn't have that specific experience in my life, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So when you sort of change your perspective and look at it in that way, and look at all of those hard things that you've been through in life, and think to yourself, would I be this person that I am now if I didn't have those specific situations happen to me? and if I didn't actually go through those things. And I think it's such a good thing to remember that it's important to be grateful for the good, but it's also sometimes good to be grateful for those really hard moments, because they do shape you in the end and they make you stronger and so much more wiser for the next experience and the next chapter in your life. And I think that it's so freeing to be able to make peace with that. And I feel like nostalgia is in the air right now, honestly. Like Justin Bieber at Coachella singing all of his old songs from his old albums. I mean, honestly, that healed my inner child in a way that I cannot even explain right now. I feel like everyone's doing this like nostalgia thing, which is crazy. Like even the whole Hannah Montana reunion thing that happened, and then Wizards of Waverly Place is back, and it's just all of these small things that are like adding up, and it's crazy because it kind of just reminds you of that person that you were when you were a kid. You were just happy with anything, you know what I mean? Like you would just have fun doing anything, and you had no care in the world, and you would watch your favorite show, and it was just a fun time. And it's nice to sort of tap back into that inner child energy and remember that life doesn't always have to be so serious and so hard all the time, that you can find those little small moments that bring you joy and happiness and make you feel good again. I guess that's what I really want to urge you guys to do like this week. Try and find something small, whether it's like going for a walk at the beach when it's like sunset, or buying your favorite cup of coffee and really savoring it, or reading a really good book. You can even like read like 2 pages of it. Just something that brings you back to that feeling of being carefree and joy and happiness. It's those small moments that allow you to enjoy those in-between moments where it feels like nothing is happening, nothing is working, and you feel really empty inside. It's about just trying to find those small things in your life that can bring you a little bit of joy and happiness. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed hanging out with me. As always, I love hanging out with you, and I just hope you guys have an amazing weekend, okay? Have the best week, have the best day, and just have some fun. Laugh at yourself a little bit. Do something that makes you happy, and just vibe out, honestly. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Bye.